So you see the power that the intellect holds over the mind. Now that power is not being utilized in our daily lives. To utilize that power, we need a little bit of knowledge and then implementation. So, what is this knowledge that we will be discussing further? The mind that we wish to control and direct and channelize to attain our ultimate goal, this mind keeps on creating a number of desires. Some of these desires are beneficial for us. Some of these are detrimental to us. Some of them elevate us. Some of them degrade us. We all experience there are varieties of desires that are being thrown up by the mind. And it is in our best interest to reduce the lower desires and enhance the upper desires. The Vedic scriptures, these textbooks for the inner technology, they divided these desires into three categories. In fact, the material energy, they divided it into three categories. Now, when I say material energy, they say that not only is this the material energy, the inner world is also created by the material energy. So that has three categories: the mode of goodness, or sattva gun, the mode of passion, or rajogun, and the mode of ignorance, or tamogun. So when the mode of ignorance dominates a person's personality, that person experiences the desire for violence, anger, intoxication, laziness, sleep, indolence. These are the general traits of the mode of ignorance. When the mode of passion predominates in a person's personality, it leads to intense desires for the objects of the senses, intense ambition for worldly enhancement, for prestige, for attainment of worldly objects. When the mode of goodness predominates, that leads to peace of mind, the desire to cultivate knowledge, the desire for compassion, for service. All these are symptoms of the mode of goodness. So we all have our natural disposition of our mind as it is characterized by these three modes. And we would like to eliminate the lower desires and to enhance or develop the higher desires. I mean, if you were given a choice, you would rather have a burning passion for knowledge than an incurable urge for ice creams. Because you know it would lead to the problem of obesity and then cholesterol and so many other things. So these desires get us into trouble and we wish to reduce them. And there are desires we would like to befriend. Desires that elevate our life, that raise it to sublime heights. But how to do this is a constant struggle. So these inner technologists gave us a wonderful understanding of how this system works. Now, I have read Western psychology. I have read all the works of Freud and Carl Jung and Adler and Michelangelo and Maslow, but I would like you all to hear the Vedic psychology. Now, how perfectly it describes the functioning of the inner system. See, these desires, they can have two ends. Either they will be fulfilled or they will be unfulfilled. If the desires get fulfilled, let's say if they get unfulfilled, what happens? It leads to, anybody? Make a guess? That's right. It leads to anger. Let us say that the husband decided that he wants to really indulge his tongue today and have his favorite ice cream. And he went to the market, got 5 kgs of ice cream, placed it in the refrigerator, and went out for his 1-hour walk by the riverside to work up an appetite so that he comes back and then he can enjoy his ice cream even further. But after 1 hour, when he returned and opened the fridge, he found there was no ice cream. He got infuriated. He asked his wife, I had placed ice creams there, where have they gone? The wife said, my dear husband, didn't the doctor say your cholesterol is going high? I have thrown it into the garbage. What? You threw the ice cream? Now he became angry. What was the cause of this anger? The desire was created. There was an obstruction in its fulfillment that led to anger. Anger never comes by itself. Desire is the cause. One lady came to me, she said, Swamiji, everything is all right, but I have one problem. I have a lot of anger. I said, everything is all right? That's not possible. If the child is there, the mother must also be there. If you experience anger, that means there is this desire. So, if that desire is not fulfilled, it leads to anger. Now, what happens if it gets fulfilled? Let us say that he did find the ice cream there. And he did indulge in it. Ah, so nice. You had 5 spoons. Are you satisfied? No, I want more. All right, some more. Another 5. Enough? No, I want more. All right, you've had 25 spoons. Enough? Yeah, today it's enough. But after 3 days, I want more ice creams. So the Vedas say the nature of this desire is such. If you fulfill it, it will be extinguished for some time. Then it will come back with redoubled intensity. In other words, it will lead to greed. न जातु कामः कामानाम् उपभोगेन शाम्यति हविषा कृष्णवर्त्मेव भूय एवाभिवर्धते. This is the Bhagavatam stating. Actually, the Buddha also made desire the entire focus of his analysis. And he explained it as the cause of misery. So the Bhagavatam verse that I stated, it says that if you try and extinguish fire by pouring clarified butter on it, for a moment it may get extinguished, but after that it will blaze up even more. Such is the nature of this desire. That is why the Vedic literature has gone to this extent of saying that if some fortunate spiritual scientist, if some fortunate soul can totally eliminate desire, that person becomes like God. Yada sarve pramuchyante kama yesya hridishritaah atha martyo mrito bhavatyatra brahma samashnute. Brahma means God. Yo na kamayate kinchit brahma bhuyaya kalpate. The previous verse was from the Upanishads and this is the Mahabharata. Brahma bhuyaya. That person who has given up desires becomes like God. So these desires have two consequences. On fulfillment, they lead to greed. All right? Everybody is with me? And unfulfillment, they lead to anger. If that is the case, now we wish to remove certain desires and enhance other desires. So we need to find out the cause for desire. What is the cause of desire? Now everybody is getting different desires. Somebody, while sitting in the lecture, the mind goes to the pizza. Somebody, while sitting in the lecture, goes to the football game. Now, everybody is experiencing different desires. What is the cause of these desires? Anybody like to volunteer an answer? It's very interesting. The Bhagavad Gita says, Sangat sanjayate kamaha. It's not as you would commonsensically think that intrinsic qualities of something are creating desire. The cause of desire is the attachment of your mind. Whoever has the mind attached to whichever object or person repeatedly experiences the desire for that object or person. Like, for example, take alcohol. It's an obnoxious thing by itself, foul smelling. But you ask the same question to an alcoholic. He says, who says it is foul smelling? The moment I go by the pub and I get a whiff of the whiskey, I start swaying from side to side. Now, because of the attachment of the mind, that alcoholic is experiencing the desire. Let me clarify through another example. There are mothers also sitting here, fathers also sitting here. You hold your child, you smell your child, you place your nose on the child's cheek and head, and you feel very joyous from the child's bodily smell. Supposing I was to tell you to hold your nose on your neighbor's body for 10 minutes, could you do it? Swamiji, there's a smell. You're getting a smell from your neighbor. You don't get this obnoxious smell from the child. I should, but I don't get it. I don't know why. Your mind is attached. In that attachment, even a foul smell has become a wonderful aroma. One mother, her son got lost in the fair. She went to the police booth and said, I have lost my child. The policeman said, Mother, 5 lost and found children have been brought here. Take a look, which of them is yours? The mother looked. None of them is my child. The policeman said, "Mother, how does your child look like?" "Well, he is blind in one eye and slightly paralyzed. So his face is contorted on one side, and his hand also is affected by paralysis. He keeps it like this and he walks with a limp." The policeman says, "How stupid, mother. You saw such beautiful children. Why don't you just lift any of them, hug them, and experience your motherly affection? Why are you desiring this contorted, ugly child of yours?" The mother says, "Mr. Policeman, you will not understand a mother's heart. I will only be able to sleep after I see that ugly, contorted child of mine." The mother doesn't want just beauty. She wants her child in which her mind has got attached. So, wherever your mind has been attached, that is the desire that you experience again and again. And when the desire is created, the two consequences: fulfillment will lead to greed, unfulfillment will lead to anger, and the Bhagavad Gita goes beyond. Krodhat bhavati sammohah, sammohat smriti vibhramah, smriti bhranchat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. It says from anger will come delusion. From delusion will come bewilderment of memory. And when the memory is bewildered, the intellect will be ruined. And when the intellect is ruined, that person will be lost. Lost, in other words, suffer a downfall. So all this has stemmed from the attachments. Now, if that is the case, what then is the cause for attachment?